The rope was still swaying when the rancher saw her, creaking softly against the branch as the cold air moved through the trees. He had ridden this trail 100 times, through dust and snow and silence, but nothing prepared him for the sight of a small body hanging where only birds and leaves should have been. A young Apache girl, thin as a shadow, suspended between life and death, with a cruel message tied close to her chest as if hatred itself wanted to be remembered. In that instant, the world narrowed to one terrible truth. If he rode away, she would die, and something inside him would die with her. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that one choice can change a life forever, take a moment to like this video, share it, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel Wild West Tale. Your support keeps these powerful stories alive and reaching hearts that need them. The rancher had lived most of his 46 years in quiet isolation, shaped by land that demanded strength and silence in equal measure. His ranch sat miles from the nearest settlement, surrounded by open plains and distant hills that carried old memories of conflict and loss. He knew the history of this land, the grudges passed down like inherited wounds, and he had learned long ago that survival often meant staying neutral, keeping your head low, and not getting involved. Yet standing beneath that tree, staring at the fragile life before him, neutrality felt like another word for cowardice. He cut her down without hesitation, catching her weight just in time, feeling how little there was of her, how easily life could slip away. Her breathing was shallow, her skin cold, and her body bore signs of suffering no child should know. He wrapped her in his coat and held her against him, the hateful sign falling into the dirt where it belonged. Fear rose quickly, sharp and familiar, warning him of consequences. Helping her would not go unnoticed. It would invite danger, judgment, and possibly violence. But fear did not win. It never even finished its argument. The ride back to the ranch felt longer than any journey he had ever taken. Every sound in the brush made him tense, every bend in the trail felt like a threat waiting to appear. The girl did not stir, and he checked her breathing again and again, whispering silent promises he was not sure he could keep. By the time he reached his cabin, night was settling in, and the world seemed to hold its breath. Inside, he did what he could with what little he had. Warmth, water, rest. He stayed awake through the night, watching for signs of life, haunted by the image of the tree and the knowledge that someone had meant for her to be found too late. When she finally stirred, it was only slightly, but it was enough. Enough to tell him that his choice had mattered. The days that followed tested him in ways the land never had. The girl was slow to recover, her body weak, her eyes heavy with fear and confusion. Trust did not come easily, and he did not expect it to. He gave her space, food, warmth, and patience. He spoke little, understanding that words meant nothing until actions proved their truth. In the quiet moments, he found himself confronting memories he had buried long ago, memories of loss, of people he could not save, of times he had walked away because it was easier. Word began to spread, as it always did. Smoke rising from a chimney more often than usual. Extra footprints near the creek. A rancher who was no longer alone. The land carried stories faster than horses ever could. Soon came the signs that his choice had been noticed. A fence cut, a warning left behind, the unmistakable feeling of being watched. Fear returned, heavier now, but so did resolve. He understood that protecting her would mean standing against the very forces he had avoided all his life. There were nights when he wondered if he had made a mistake, when the weight of responsibility pressed so hard it stole his breath. He was one man with limited resources and no allies nearby. The world outside his ranch was not kind, especially to those who defied its unspoken rules. Yet each morning, when he saw the girl sitting quietly by the window or stepping carefully into the sunlight, something inside him steadied. She was alive. That mattered more than anything else. As weeks passed, strength slowly returned to her small frame. The fear in her eyes softened, replaced by cautious awareness. She learned the rhythms of the ranch, the safety of routine, the simple comfort of being seen without judgment. He learned, too, discovering that caring for someone else filled a space he had long believed was meant to remain empty. The silence that once comforted him now felt different, less heavy, more alive. The real test came when riders appeared near his land one afternoon, distant but deliberate. He saw them from the porch, the way they paused, the way they looked toward the cabin. The message was clear. He could still walk away, still give her up, still return to a quiet life untouched by conflict. Instead, He stayed where he was, grounded by a certainty he had never known before. He was done letting fear decide who he was. What followed was tense and uncertain, but it did not end in the way hatred expected. His refusal to back down, his steady presence, and his unwillingness to justify cruelty disrupted the pattern that had ruled this land for generations. Not all wounds healed that day, and not all threats vanished, but something shifted. Sometimes change begins not with force, but with a line quietly drawn and held. Life did not become easy after that. Protection required vigilance, and trust from others came slowly. Yet over time, the ranch became something more than a place of survival. It became a shelter, a space where pain did not define the future. The girl grew stronger, both in body and spirit, and the rancher found purpose beyond the daily grind of work and weather. Together, they formed a fragile but powerful bond rooted in choice rather than blood. Seasons turned, carrying away the memory of the rope and the tree, though the lesson remained. The land remembered, but it also watched as something new took root. A single act of compassion had not erased the past, but it had challenged it. It had proven that history did not have to repeat itself, that even in a world shaped by cruelty, kindness could survive. If this story touched your heart, if it made you feel hope, sadness, or inspiration, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to Wild West Tale. Your engagement helps bring stories like this to others who may need them more than you know. Before the ending, we invite you to comment below and share what this story made you feel or what you believe true courage really looks like. In the end, the rancher never thought of himself as a hero. He was simply a man who chose not to look away when the world expected him to. And in choosing compassion over hatred, he saved a life, and in doing so, found his own humanity restored.